Welcome back to the Unsinged podcast, where we take the pressure off and uncinch what's really going on in the horse industry. We're so excited to welcome another guest in the saddle today. This is one of our favorite segments because we get to sit down and talk with a wide range of people from all corners of the equine community. And we get to take a look at their stories, wisdom, and we get to give you, our listeners, an opportunity to learn about the multifaceted industry.
Our next guest has been competing in the Extreme Cowboy Challenges, where he applies his style of horsemanship and consistently places in the green horse and pro divisions. More recently, he placed 6th in the world at the Extreme Cowboy World Finals in Texas, placing him as the highest ranked Canadian at the time. His extreme cowboy reputation has been growing and has led him to provide a number of clinics specializing in and around Canada and the US. In fact, he is currently in the lead for the Extreme Cowboy Clinicians in Canada, putting on around 25 plus specific extreme cowboy clinics a year, as well as putting on and organizing extreme cowboy races at a number of different fairs and events across Western Canada and the northern states, all the way down to Colorado.
Well, if you haven't guessed it yet, our next guest in the saddle is Trevor Mertes. While originally from British Columbia, he now runs his own company called Horses That Work out of Cochrane, Alberta. He's able to bring his calm, quiet, and down-to-earth approach to horsemanship in any discipline of riding through a variety of riding programs and clinics. His goal is to always do less to get more out of your horse, and to always keep in mind that if you can move the feet, you can get to the mind of the horse. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here on the podcast. We're super excited to have you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me down here.
Yeah. Well, we want to jump right into it because we have a habit of going long. So for any of our listeners who may not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the story behind how horses became your career?
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. My background's all working cattle ranches, working guest ranches and feedlots around Western Canada and the States a bit. The way that I got into horses as a career happened accidentally. I never set out to be a horse trainer or wanted to really. But I started taking in some client horses on the side of working ranches, and it just started to evolve and turned into a thing where I was getting busy enough with that, and I thought maybe I could make a go of it, and did. So it was never a goal, but it became a goal, and then now I enjoy it. So I like working for myself.
Oh yeah. I know. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Create your own schedule, kind of nice.
Yeah.
Other than the 48-hour work schedule that you have every day somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
What drew you towards starting colts and the versatility work that you do, that kind of practical horsemanship you've built your career around?
So what drew me to starting colts was I just really enjoy it. It's that first ride. It's a clean slate typically, and you get to lay down the foundation that horse will have for the rest of its life, right? So when you don't have that foundation, a lot of things fall apart later in life, or they fall apart then. So those first 60 to 90 days are really key to that horse's kind of success for the rest of their life. As far as the obstacle side of it, or just seeing and exposing different things, there's a video called The First Week. I don't know if you've ever seen that or heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's by the Newbert brothers.
Okay.
And it kind of goes through all the stuff that horse should see the first week. Mm-hmm. And pretty well everything that horse will ever see in its life, you want to show them the first week when it's new to them. Mm-hmm. That way they just keep on taking and rolling with it. And then down the road, if they come back to it ever, it's not a big deal. And that's kind of my goal with the first 30 or 60 days, even, to try to expose them to cattle, to obstacles, to trail riding, to arena work, just everything that they're going to see down the road in that first 30 to 60 days. So that way it's kind of in that foundation as well.
Okay, that makes sense. I know you have a saying that you took from a mentor. If you want a calm horse, stay calm. If you want a patient horse, be patient.
Yep. So
was there a turning point, or maybe that specific mentor, that really shaped the way you approach horses today?
Yeah, and funny enough, Ian is the one that gave me that quote, and he mentored me for the first maybe 6 months I was starting colts. And then there's other mentors down the road that actually laid a bigger foundation to what I do now. But that quote was something that his dad had told him back when they were originally starting colts. And he told me that, and I kind of use that, and I've promoted it a lot. But yeah, Tom Mowry would be there's three big ones, I guess. Ian would be the first one, and Mike Hawkridge at the same time. They were both, I was working for both those guys on a ranch at the same time, and they kind of laid that foundation down that it can be the horse's idea. And they were big into more natural horsemanship kind of ways back then. That was 20 years ago now. And then Tom Mowry, I worked with him down in Colorado, and he's a big mule guy. And mules always get that name for being stubborn, but they're just smart. Right? And you guys were just talking about Arabs in the last podcast, and it's the same thing with them. They get a bad rap just because they're smarter than most people too, unfortunately.
That's why I said, I'm like, it has to be the right person, because they are smart, and you have to be able to work with that type of brain.
Yep. Yeah, and if you can allow it to be the horse's idea, it doesn't matter what breed or discipline you're doing, you're going to be able to work through it. Right? Whereas if you try to force it, there's a lot of, I should leave that for your other the previous episodes, but
go for it.
A lot of quarter horses are easy to make and force to do stuff.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's a lot of quarter horse trainers that won't play with Arabs or Appaloosas or mules, and there's a lot of really top end clinicians that say their program doesn't work on mules. So you're missing 30, maybe even 40% of the horses, because if your program doesn't work on mules, then you're missing a lot of those troubled horses or the horses that need a little bit extra time in a different way. But if your program is there for allowing it to be their idea, then it's 100% of the time, because you'll get mules doing stuff you can never get a horse to do. And that was kind of Tom's thing, is like he goes team roping with his mules, and he can outperform anybody on a horse on a mule. But you would never know, like, he's super humble and super quiet about it, which is great. But most of what I do now is through what Tom taught me to do with the mules.
Okay.
So
I like hearing that, though, because I think it's true that there is a lot of times where trainers struggle with maybe a horse that's not immediately saying yes.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because the horse is difficult, but maybe they don't know the other ways to communicate that question.
Yeah. The biggest thing with that, if I can add to that quick,
yeah,
is
of course.
the horse is always right.
Yep.
Right. It's up to us to change the question to get the answer we want. So it might take 99 different questions to get the correct answer, but it's not on the horse to find those questions. It's up to us to ask the different questions to get the answer. And then we can work it backwards to, this was the original question I asked, and that's the answer that I wanted.
Yep.
But it's up to us to change to find that. So
I think that's really important to acknowledge that sometimes it's about the way we're asking the question, because you can't learn something if you don't understand what's asked of you.
Yeah.
And I like how you brought up the sentiment about your mentors, the ego thing. I think for a lot of people it's, oh, I can do this, oh, I can do that. I don't work with these kind of horses because they're a-holes or stubborn or whatever. And so much of good horsemanship is taking the ego out and then being comfortable with deviating off of, your traditional path and being able to modify your requests or your ask or your questions to that horse that's shown up. And I think that's what separates your everyday colt starter from actual horsemen. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. And I always quote, or not quote, but at clinics I talk about Ray and Bill and Tom quite often. And like those three guys in their 80s were still getting together, picking on each other, trying to figure out how to do less. Right? Like, and there's no reason that at 40 we'd have it figured out.
Yeah.
Like if those three guys were still in their 80s trying to figure it out, we're pretty much screwed. We'll never be there. So we have to keep trying and keep that humbleness. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move on to your niche, which is Extreme Cowboy Challenges. So for listeners who may have heard the term, but maybe don't really know what it means, what exactly is Extreme Cowboy Challenge competitions, and what makes it different from a traditional obstacle course or a trail class? So what it is, start there. I should take notes on those questions. What it is it's an obstacle-based race format. So therefore, Pro Division, for example, we have 13 obstacles. Each obstacle scored 0 to 10. And then we get an overall horsemanship score, and then we also have an overall time score. And the biggest misconception with this sport is that it's just a speed-based sport, and we just run however we want across stuff, and it's not. The obstacles have to be precise. They have to be smooth and clean.
Then the horsemanship has to be smooth and clean. And then on top of that, then the time gets added in at the end. Right? And the time is only 20 seconds. What is it? For every 20 seconds under 8 minutes is 1 point. So you can be a minute slower and sacrifice 3 points. But by being a minute slower, your 13 obstacles were smoother. Therefore, you actually gained 1 point on all 13 obstacles. So you gained 10 points, even though you lost 3 for speed.
Oh, that's good to know, because I always hear it's all about speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a very new sport. It only has been around since 2009. Okay. So there's a lot of growing pains. In the first 5 or 6 years, it was all about speed, and that was where some of that misconception came around. And then now that it's 17 years or something, I think I've been doing it for 10 years now. Wow. And even in those 10 years I've been doing it, it's been a huge change. And we've gone from, like when I started my stud on it, I could just run around and do stuff and it was fine. And then 2 years in, he was pretty hot. So it took 2 or 3 years to fix that. Yeah. And then by that time now, there's a lot of reiners that are doing it, where people are buying like rejected reiners and putting them into our sports. Now you've got these really smooth running horses in there. And yeah, you've got to be technical and precise now. Every year it gets tougher that way.
Okay, that's really cool. I've always really admired Cowboy Challenge, and I've always wanted to do it, but I always thought it was a speed-based thing, so I was kind of always like, but that's good to know.
Yeah, because she's in more working equitation, so it's very similar in just like the style of how it's set up, I think.
Yeah, and our novices, they're trotting around the majority. Yeah. They might only lope their free rides they get, and they won't be loping in between obstacles. They'll be trotting, and that's the novice for people to begin at.
Okay. So I'll go novice.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that makes it harder is that what I teach in clinics often is that every time we pick up speed, we lose 30% control. So you can have that runaway and it'll be a flat out runaway. But it's like there's mountain trail and that's pretty popular. And some of the like ranch trail classes are pretty popular. And it doesn't take, in my opinion, it doesn't take a whole lot to walk smoothly across things. But as soon as you pick up just a little bit of a speed, even a faster walk, they step off the bridges. Or they step off somewhere else. So we lose at least 30% control every time we pick up speed. And that's why when you can actually do it at a full run, it is about a year preparation to get to that point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To have it under control. You can do it on a 30-day colt. And sometimes they'll lope skinny bridges now. But to get it to that show level, it's going to be a year.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. So when someone watches an Extreme Cowboy event for the first time, what are they actually seeing judged or rewarded beyond simply getting through the obstacles? We kind of talked about this, but what is the kind of specifics?
So it's on the scale of 1, like 0 to 10 scaling for each obstacle. There's 1 point for approach, 1 point for departure on that 10. So if you come in a little bit crooked, you'll be at a 0 for that already by the time you get to the obstacle. Okay. So most judges are looking 10 to 20 feet out on either side. Oh. Right. So if it's a 10-foot bridge, you're actually getting judged on the 30-foot section, give or take. Okay. From there, your average is 5.5. So if you walk across that bridge on a loose rein, straight, willing, you're only going to get a 5.5 out of 10. If you can trot it, that's going to be, and again, loose rein, in control, relaxed, you're at 5.5 to maybe a 7, 7.5. And then if you can lope it, it's going to be that 7.5 to 9.5. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. It's actually very similar to working equitation.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing more, and I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense that way.
Yeah. So this is like random off the cuff question, just out of my own curiosity. Yeah. So the loose rein piece, that is like considered your gold standard for like relaxation and everything over top of the obstacles. Like that pretty would be kind of like your...
You want it to look loose and in control. Okay. Right? Not quite like a full reiner. Yeah. The two more accepted kind of looks are like cow horse or reiner. Yeah. Okay. So looser rein, but in control. Like sometimes a cow horse, you got to get after him to get that cow turned. Yeah. So you can get after your horse too a little bit in extreme if you have to that way. Yeah. But you don't want to be... You lose... in the rule book, it is like 0.5 or 1.5, something like that for gapping mouths. Okay. So every time the mouth gaps, I think it's 0.5 that judges are supposed to take off.
Okay, that's
Okay.
cool. That's good
interesting.
to know.
Yeah.
And probably like more relaxed body too, not just about the rein, but like everything looks like it's collected, but in a relaxed fashion.
And if the person's sitting tight, I mean, that's going to be judged down.
Okay.
Right. There's some people that will ride almost like perched up and a tighter rein, even though it might have a little slack, but the horse's head is not looking relaxed and they're just tight.
Yeah.
So that's going to be judged into that, as well as the overall horsemanship at the end of it all.
Okay.
Right. So if you ride tight and up, I mean, if you're just an uptight person and pulling on your horse, it's going to be reflected on all the obstacles and the horsemanship.
Okay.
And everything involved.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a mainly horsemanship-based obstacle sport.
I like that.
And you want to see horses willingly going over things, not
not forced.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think there was a question later in the list of stuff on that.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay, I just had like curious.
Yeah, I'll write that down for you.
Okay, well, my last question in the little Extreme Cowboy section. Why do you think Extreme Cowboy has been gaining so much traction with everyday horse owners?
So with everyday horse owners, there's not, I'd say maybe like 20% of the horse world is competition based. And maybe 75-80% is trail based hobby. They want to go compete on a weekend, maybe here and there. They might do a cow horse for fun, or a versatility ranch horse, or something like that. With Extreme Cowboy, like to get to the world's level, for sure you need to be training and competing on it. But just to come and show up and have fun, anybody can do that. A lot of times with our association in Alberta, we run a play day on the Saturday and then a race on the Sunday. So there's a lot of hobby people that come on the Saturday and just play around with stuff but never compete. But it also, the biggest thing I like about it and why I keep doing it is because it relates to horses in every aspect of the world. So you can take an Extreme Cowboy horse and you can go trail ride and know you have a confident horse that isn't scared of stuff on the trail. Or you can train them more reining specific, but now they're not scared of that banner hung in the reining show pen or the cutting show pen, right? So it does create a very versatile horse. People can kind of come and go through our sport and go to other sports as well and still show that confidence and have fun. So.
Yeah, I would. That makes a lot more sense because I've definitely seen a lot more traction where you're hearing about it a lot more and where people who aren't competing are going to do these things. And I love hearing about the play day because I think it's important to also recognize for any of the horse disciplines, people aren't going to be starting out at the top of the top. And so it's important that they get the ability to try it out without feeling this anxiety and pressure on their horse. Because what if the horse doesn't like it or what? And just being able to give them that push that they can try it out and see if it's for them.
Yeah, and that's like with the obstacles. I don't know if this will come up maybe later too, but I'll come back to what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel like they're going to have to force their horse. They don't know if they like it. Like my horse won't like it because they're scared of it.
Yeah.
But those people are trying to force their horse over the obstacles. And going back to what we talked about with the mules, if it's their idea, then it's not a big deal. And if you come to the obstacle play days and you're like, I want to do 10 obstacles today, and you make your horse do 10 obstacles, the next time you come out, they might only do one. Because they remember that. And it's always, again, I talk about it at clinics right off the bat, the first day typically. If the first obstacle a horse ever sees in their life is pressured over, every obstacle, they'll remember that. It's like PTSD and that trauma searing in the brain. And they'll end up having to, and you'll see it at the world's level. I think that was, I don't know, I kind of briefly read your questions. But there was somewhere in there about that. Like you'll see that at the world's level. If something was pressured over obstacles at the beginning, you'll see it there. But if you can save the horse's life and take him away from the scary obstacle, pretty soon they're curious. They want to go check it out on their own deal, and then it's their idea. And if you can have that approach, then the first obstacle is their idea, the second's their idea, and by the third, they're like, oh, check that out, whatever. And then they're super bold. They could care less about anything because it's been their idea. So if people are coming out to it for the first time, don't come expecting to do the big scary target or the suspension bridge. Just come with that theory that like you can take them up, show them, save their life, take them away. And then there'll be less pressure, and then they'll do whatever you want.
I appreciate that take because I have a horse who is naturally a little bit more fear-based. I think it's, he wasn't touched like at all, not even halter broke until over 2.5. So things are a little scary. Humans were scary. And we have come through a lot. But one of the things that we struggled with was a farrier for a while because he had gotten an injury and hurt one of his front legs. And because of it, he didn't like bending it up and down. And he would lay down on me every time I would pick up his foot. And I had a farrier come out. I had told him, and he was like, "Oh, I'll force him." And then it got big. Yeah. And he is part of Hancock line, so he decides when you get big, he'll get bigger, and it just becomes a very dangerous situation. And he remembers that, like even to this day, even though we have a different farrier, he's not injured there. Every time you go to pick up that right front, he gets a little nervy. If you start on the left, he'll be fine, and the right won't even bother him anymore. And so that's what we've done, is we've just changed the idea of like, okay, we're not going to go to the one that immediately causes panic. We're going to go to the others so that you won't go, oh yeah, I remember this, and then he's fine.
Build the confidence first, and then come back to it.
Exactly. And I appreciate that take, because sometimes people think you just have to muscle them through, and then it just ends in disaster.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have that approach of like, oh, well, if they see it for the first time and they don't do it, then they kind of think the opposite end of the spectrum, like they're never going to do it, so like they need to do it the first time. And I love that sentiment of, you know, you actually saved their life, and they start to build more trust in you.
And it's one of those things, like, for people, we're so goal orientated, where we see the bridge, we have to do the bridge. It's like, no, the horse is scared of it. Just him coming 20 feet from it was good. Walk him away, bring him back. He went 19 and a half feet. You can call it quits. Because you've already proven to him that he can now trust you, as well as he gave you 6 inches farther that time all on his own. Whereas people, we think, okay, well, I'm 20 feet away, he's scared, now go touch the scary thing. Right? I always use holding a kid over a cliff that's scared of heights. Right? So I don't know if you've heard that. So when a kid's afraid of heights, we don't hold them over a cliff until they're okay, right? Because they'll be screaming and kicking. And you can either drop them to get them to be quiet, or you take them away and save their life. And with kids, we'll take that same kid that's scared of heights 100 feet from a cliff one day and be like, oh, that's pretty good, let's go get ice cream. Next day you come out and like you go 80 feet, like, cool, let's go get ice cream. And by the end of a week or two, that kid can get within 10 or 20 feet of the cliff, maybe even look over it. But with horses, we're like, oh, it's a cliff, go jump off it. Right? Or it's a bridge, go jump off it. So it's just that different mentality of like, you are actually winning by going a half an inch or an eighth of an inch even closer every day to that bridge. Right? So
just taking our ego out and
keep on moving,
taking every little ounce of try and rewarding the try, even if it's not the goal or not exactly what you want. They're like micro steps towards that goal.
Exactly. And horses live a long time. We have lots of time to make that goal, and I think sometimes we forget that. But
if it's their idea, you don't have to wait 20 years.
It'll
happen over 5 minutes.
Exactly.
But it's just rewarding those little tries in between and being aware of it. So.
Exactly. So I guess I'm going to keep going on to how the sport is developed. But like, what kind of skills do you think Extreme Cowboy is really testing for both, not just the horse, but also the rider?
It's everything and every aspect of that. It's no matter how good you get or your horse gets, you never have a perfect run. So it's that challenge of going out and competing. And some people are like, oh, I don't want to go in the show pen, I'm scared to show. Don't be worried about what other people think or care about, because we all started somewhere. But go out there to actually see where your holes are in your horsemanship too, right? And that's what I like about it, is that it does show our own holes every single race. And we always have something to come back and work on the next week for the next show, or just for ranching or working. Like, there's just something that'll show up in every single race where it's like, okay, I need to work on this, I need to fine tune that, my lead change was a bit off, I'm going to go work on that maybe in a field this week, or stuff like that, right? So it's for me, it again, humans being goal orientated, every time you go and compete, you find something to work on, and you set a new goal for yourself to work on. So
that's a good answer. I like that answer. On the rider side, I'll continue there. What does the sport expose the fastest? Is it like timing, feel, decision-making, confidence, all of the above?
Yep, all of the above. Timing, feel, hand position. Hand position's a huge one. If people, not so much at the world's level, like all of it has to come together to be perfect with speed and fine-tuned and smoothness at the world's level. At the home level, green horses, people just coming out, hand positioning is huge. So a lot of times you'll have people wanting to go ride over an obstacle, but I'm very particular that anything in front of the saddle horn or the wither is front feet, anything behind is back feet.
Okay.
So front feet are forward motion, back feet are backward motion. A lot of times when people step a horse onto the bridge for the first couple times, that horse stretches and steps forward. People's natural reaction is to bring their hands back and get tight. So now your hands are behind the saddle horn, which is back feet, and they take a step back. Even though you're thinking forward and asking the horse to go forward, your hand positioning is telling the horse to go back.
Okay.
And that's usually when they kind of, not necessarily rear, but pop up and come off backwards or walk off of something backwards. Whereas if you can reward forward motion and keep your hands kind of up and out, then the horse always knows forward is the way out, and they're much more bold about going forward. So hand positioning is a lot bigger, I think, than what people take on it.
Yeah.
For that.
I see your cogs turning on that one.
No, I think that it's really interesting to hear about the foot control stuff, and I can really see how Cowboy Challenge, like especially when you come onto those narrow bridges or the platforms and stuff like that, you need to know where every ounce of your horse's feet are. So it's interesting to hear the perspective on like, your hands are going to impact all of those things. And I think a lot of people too, they don't really recognize the mistakes that they make, and you can like have all of the right intentions and know and visualize what you want to do. But something just as simple as like the location of your hands can kind of make or break.
Yeah. It'll throw your horse on or off.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Are there certain obstacles that tend to reveal the holes like faster? Yeah. Which one do you notice?
I always say skinny bridges and water boxes are the two hardest.
Okay.
Because every horse naturally will walk around a puddle, right? And that's all the water box is.
Yeah.
Now, with that, a skinny bridge, we're allowed to go as narrow as 13 inches.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying to think of, like, visualize how big that is skinny.
well, the size of that notepad.
Dang.
Maybe that way.
Sheesh.
The ones I use often, and most associations, we don't go much less than 18 inches. So, but then they could be 40 feet long, or they could have U-shaped or S-shaped bridges in that. So yeah, if your horse is off balance, and typically with skinny bridges, a horse will start falling to the left, and people lean to the right, which actually then you shift your weight to the right, which pushes the horse off to the left even quicker. Right?
Yeah.
And in a race,
counterintuitive.
It is, yeah. So in a race, you don't get the chance to work on it, but at home, you're always better to take that horse off before they fall off and build their confidence that they can come off, rather than try to hold them on.
And then them topple off.
Nothing we can do will keep a 1,500-pound horse on an 18-inch bridge.
Yeah.
Or smaller. And then, water boxes is one where a horse can be pretty confident with tarps, bridges, all that stuff, and then you put a little water in the water box. It just, the world ends, yeah. And that's one where people you just walked through it dry, now it's got water in it, and they go to immediately pressure. And, I do know a few trainers around that really pressure that stuff, and it's been 3 to 5 years later, and you can still see it. And even at Worlds, you'll see the horses that were pressured over obstacles versus the ones that were trained that it was their idea. And they'll still do them, but you can see how much tighter that horse is in the face and the mouth.
Yep.
And everything about it, you can tell that it's thinking hard about not doing it because it's been pressured through it. And it just knows that it has to, rather than it's their idea.
It shuts down.
Yep.
Yep.
So, those are the two. Skinny bridges and water boxes are the two hardest, and those two tend to bring with the most pressure.
Okay. Do you think, from talking about like the versatility of the sport and how it can translate kind of in most of the areas, do you think that all horses can be Cowboy Challenge horses, quote unquote, or does it take like a specific demeanor, in your opinion, to be like a good Cowboy Challenge horse?
I think every horse can do anything you want it to. The quieter ones are going to do better quicker, right? But it doesn't mean that something isn't unsalvageable. For a client, if they're going to pay for one, then I might say yes or no to that. So it's like, do you really want to pay? Like, I've got a couple now that, it's taken 1.5 years or 2.5 years to get done what should have taken 6 months. But they just love it and they keep on doing it. And I'm honest with them on it. But it's, some horses will definitely take 6 months to a year to be competitive, but there's no horse that can't do it. Especially for the, as a pro, you should be able to develop any horse into at least an intermediate level horse, I think. And it is an all breed sport. So we have a couple girls in Alberta that ride Tennessee Walkers a few years ago, and they won worlds in the youth division on the Tennessee Walkers.
What?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That is super fun.
That's
I love
fun.
a good gated horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some Arabs. There's draft crosses. They have a Mustang division down at Worlds just for Mustangs. There's a mule-specific division down at Worlds for mules only. What else do we have? There's another one too.
I'm curious with the draft crosses if that changes the playing field a little bit because they are just a larger horse when it comes to skinny bridges or anything like that.
Naturally, unfortunately, the smaller horses tend to do better.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to train them as hard, right? It's
Yep.
way easier for a 14 one-hand horse to get their 4 feet together on a little pedestal or a little bridge
Than like an
than a
18-hander.
16, I wasn't even going to go that big. But yeah. But then we've had a couple girls ride Canadians up here. And they went down to Worlds and placed top 10 down there too.
Wow.
So it is an all-breed sport. So there's no horse that can't make it. Some are just going to take a bit more training than others.
Yeah, and I like how you talked about the sentiment of time too, because again, how long it takes for a horse to, want to be willing and trust, and different breeds and different horses and different backgrounds, that all can really vary. So it's not necessarily about these type of horses are better. There's a desired type of horse. It's just how much time do you have and how much time are you willing to take with whatever specific horse that you have. So I think that's a good sentiment. And for you listeners, if you have a horse and you're like, I don't know if they're a Cowboy Challenge horse, I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's intimidating, especially if your horse is, fearful of pressure. But if you're willing to take the time, you've heard it here.
Yeah.
Anything can be accomplished.
And you hear it a lot too, like you see it, or I hear it a lot with people like, I want to come take your clinic, but my horse is he just doesn't like obstacles. I haven't met a horse that actually doesn't like obstacles. But I've met a lot of people that are scared of obstacles and their horse doesn't do them because of that. Or it's simply that, like I was talking about hand positioning again, they ride up to an obstacle and their hand comes back here to their hip and the horse just kind of leans and walks away and like, he doesn't like it. It's like, no, he actually would go straight if you just helped him find straight. So I don't think there's any horse that
more
doesn't
our
like
error than the horse's error usually.
99.9%.
I can confirm from myself.
Okay, I have a random question because I would love to do Cowboy Challenge. I've always wanted to do Cowboy Challenge.
She was so excited for this because she really wanted
I love working
to.
equitation, but Cowboy Challenge I feel like
you can work into.
I feel like there's a lot of parallels. So with working equitation, we have, I think it's 19 obstacles.
Okay.
And usually every course is about 12 of those 19 obstacles. Now, one of the things that I remember watching, like the Extreme Cowboy races with Craig Cameron and stuff like that, was some of the obstacles, like I remember seeing a taxidermy bear in an arena one time. Are there like set obstacles or is there... No.
It depends on where you go.
So in the rule book, I think there's 50 or 60 maybe
that
are in there. But we can pretty well draw from any other equine sport, English, Western, whatever. Like we'll do flying lead changes on the wall sometimes as a kind of a different thing that we have to do. I've made people like gotcha poles on fire at some of the fairs.
Oh my God,
so
that's sick.
That.
Peter would be so good.
That's up my alley.
Mounted shooting, mounted archery are two that we have as obstacles that we use now and then.
Cool.
So there's
I would suck at this, but I want to do it.
Yeah, there's no, as far as there's really no limit to it. Each obstacle in the rule book does have a rating. I think they're out of 5 or 6. I'd have to go back and look. But like young guns, which is our age, like 7 to 12 or 7 to 11, they can only do an obstacle like 1 or 2 rating. Like you're not going to make them rope like cattle. Right?
Makes
or you're
sense.
not going to make a kid
so
light
there's
fire.
just kind of like a range of difficulty in each of the divisions. Okay.
Youth is similar to pro or similar to open.
Okay.
So it's a pretty tough class in there. Our pro division, there's really no limit. We used to have a limit at 2.5 foot height for jumps. And then we were always like back when, I don't know, it's been a couple years now, but we used to have our open division, but it was called pro, and that was the open division. And a few years ago, the trainers all kind of got together at Worlds and talked, and we developed an actual pro. But at that time, it was called Super Pro at Worlds for pros. and open, or the
Super
pro
pro.
for the open, and there was no limit. Like they made us jump 3 feet, 3.5
Holy
feet,
shit.
whatever they wanted. And the 2.5 foot is a blue barrel on the ground, and that's why Craig Cameron did that.
Yeah.
Because then we can use those barrels for jumps.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they brought out those plastic construction barricades, and they're 3.5 foot, and they put one. I think they're 6 feet long, and there's one in the middle of the free ride. We had to jump that.
Oh my
Jesus.
God. I
So-
love the creativity though.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm like,
So it's
I'm
just
thinking of it.
anything now.
It's,
Yeah.
you're basically just like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and there's no limit to it. Like I'm building a 6 foot high, 14.5 foot, 4 foot wide bridge at the moment, just
Jesus.
for Armstrong Fair this year.
Cool.
That is
And it'll
awesome.
be, I don't want to give it all away because I haven't done it yet, but it'll be like a 4-way ramp system too.
Whoa.
And it's
Ooh.
going to be big.
Dang.
When,
Yeah.
when is the fair?
September long weekend every year.
Road trip?
Road trip?
Road
Yep.
trip?
And there's cattle sorting. There's all your like Western pleasure.
Road trip?
It's the only place that I ever enter English classes. So if you ever want to see me,
We'll be there.
that's it. So
Oh,
but yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
all your ranch horse classes, all your
Cool.
Western pleasure, English pleasure. There's driving classes. I think there's like 270 classes you could enter if you
Wow.
wanted to do it all.
That's cool.
And then it's the 125th year this year, so we'll be doing a huge Extreme Cowboy race too.
I might try one. I'm going to be the bottom of the barrel. I already know that.
But we
But
can go together. I'll
we'll-
bring a young horse.
Yeah.
Then we'll just.
I'll ride one of your really good ones, and
Yeah,
you
there you
ride
go.
one of the young ones, and then we'll be like somewhat
Yeah.
simpatico. Yeah,
we
just
have
curious.
one lady, and I can't remember her name for the life of me right now, but she is pretty much legally blind. And she...
Oh, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. Oh, the name's gonna slip me, but she was at Stampede last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. And she took a year off because her eyes got so bad, but she can really only see pinholes
Mm-hmm.
through her eyesight.
Yep.
And she's beat
Wow.
me a number of times down there.
Hell
You're
yeah.
like, damn it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but no, like she
No,
can
she-
ride well, and her horse does well. And
She's very good. I watched her
Yep.
last year. She is amazing, actually, for the like position she's
Yep.
in. That is, it's crazy.
I didn't know the first 3 or 4 years I was at Worlds that she was blind.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Then
Yeah.
you were like, ah, shit.
Now, like, well, I made the mistake too because we're like they announced us in the top 10 or whatever. We're all
Yeah.
standing there, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't realize you were blind. She's like, yeah, for a few years, like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, not that you're blind. That's
you
cool
can
that you're
do this.
competing. And I was like, that probably came out wrong. Yeah.
It's so cool you're blind. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
it.
so cool. I'm your biggest fan. That's funny.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah. Well, if someone is like me and is listening to this podcast right now and is thinking, this actually sounds really dang fun and I want to try,
Yeah.
what would be the best way for so-and-so to start Cowboy Challenge?
Yeah.
There's a lot of clinics. There is not a lot in Alberta. There's a number of them though. There is the play days attached.
Yeah.
So Extreme Cowboy Alberta, they do have the play days attached to that. So you can go usually a day or two ahead of time and play around. The Cochrane Egg Society, our outdoor obstacle course, is rentable.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that either.
Yeah. So it's $50 an hour. So if you have 5 people, it's $10 a person an hour.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah. So it's pretty reasonable. You can just go play on those obstacles anytime. I do a ton of clinics around BC, a couple
Yeah.
in Alberta, and a bunch in the States. So you can come to a clinic anytime or set up. We can do evening, weekday, whatever lessons too with obstacles.
Yeah.
But that'd be my suggestion. Like, try to find somebody to kind of go and take some lessons with. Go to a couple of play days, check it out. It's a pretty good environment. Most people are willing to help.
Yeah.
Going back to obstacles, some people are more pressure. Some people let it be their idea. So
Yeah,
be aware
choose wisely.
at the play days.
Yeah,
There's
who
a
you're
lot more
listening
pressure
to.
than saving the horse's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely, most of us trainers are there too, and we'll lend a hand if somebody's having an issue.
Yeah.
So
That's nice. So it's more community based in
Yeah.
that
very,
regard.
even down at Worlds, it's community based. It's like a big family reunion every year at Worlds.
That's nice.
So, and
I
that's
love hearing that.
What
Yeah.
everybody talks about, like on Facebook and stuff afterwards. Like, oh, we just had our family reunion, and it's like,
Aw.
actually, you're competing at Worlds, but yeah.
The horse world needs more of that.
It really does, where everybody's wanting success for each other.
Yeah.
It's a lot more in the States than Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So-
I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, it's
I kind of noticed that at
Yeah.
Art of the Cowgirl, if I'm honest, where
Mhm.
people are more willing to like kind of chat amongst each other.
it's unreal. Yeah, so I don't want to talk down trainers in Canada too much, but
Oh gosh, yeah.
it's one of those things where up here, and I kind of bring it back to that we have less clientele. There's just
Mhm.
less people.
yeah.
Down in the States, you go work with trainers and like, yep, go ahead. Like, you know what? If you need to go work with that other trainer for 3 or 4 months, go ahead, because they've got a client base and they'll just fill that spot. And
Yeah, it's a
we
lot
can't
more competitive
teach
here.
somebody everything.
Yeah.
So it's much more down there. Like, yeah, you know what? You should probably go work with that trainer for a few months, because they'll probably teach you something I can't, or in a different way that might help you better. Yeah. Whereas up here, and it's happened in our sport too, where some people went to another trainer for a bit, and then that was a huge like political blow up, and they were all mad at each other, and then that sets the tone at every race for a while.
There's a stickiness in the air.
Get over it. They just chose to go learn something new. You should be encouraging it.
Yeah.
So yeah, up here it's very much like everybody wants to kind of keep their clients to themselves, rather than more territorial. Kind of send them out to the world and learn new things, right?
The way you said that was smart though, but saying like it's a lot to do with it doesn't have as much clientele here, and I think we notice it more significantly here than the US, that the horse world is dying a bit.
Yeah.
And so it makes it more challenging to make it a livelihood.
Yep.
So then people, regardless if they want to be collaborative or not, have this feeling of anxiety almost, because it's like, well, now that you're working with that person, does that mean you're not going to work with me? And does that mean I'm losing my income and my livelihood?
Exactly. Yeah, rather than thinking the other way of, you should go work with them. Now I need to re-promote to find a new person to fill that spot.
Yeah.
And I'll teach somebody, and that person might go to that barn and say that they learned something good from you.
Yeah.
Before you blow that up, and then all of a sudden that person leaves that barn and comes to your barn for a bit to work with you instead. So
exactly,
if we can get out of, again, put the ego aside.
Yeah, don't burn a bridge.
Yeah, people can help everybody. Trainers can help everybody. I send some of my clients to reiners. I'm like, you know what, like your horse is good with obstacles right now, and my reining is still learning. Like, go work with this reiner, because I think if you can get some of the reining stuff down, I think you're going to nail it next time.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that here on the podcast. We're big believers of collaboration and big believers that everybody has the ability to teach you something.
Yep.
And you take what you love and you leave what you don't, and you move on from there. But I appreciate that it's even talked about even on here, not just through us, that you're saying like collaboration grows you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as trainers, we need to be a lot better at, owning, and like the fact of the matter is you don't have all of the answers, and that's with teaching people, training horses, whatever. But being able to put your ego aside and be like, well, I don't know about this, but I'm friends with someone down the road who does, who I can refer you to.
Exactly.
When your doors are open and you're extending bridges and all of those things, I feel like it makes you a lot more approachable and a lot more of a
well-rounded.
Well-rounded, and like as a business person, people are going to want to work with you. And I feel like a lot of people kind of get caught up and they get their little cliques or their little groups of people, but you stay kind of small when you stay in a dome.
And that's not just trainers. Like you see that with body workers all the time, where it becomes extremely territorial, especially if they've been working in a barn for a long time and you're brought in. Even though you have no idea who that person is and it's nothing you've done, it's immediate aggression. Yeah. Right? And you're like, whoa, I just showed up.
Just here to work on the horse.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah. And you feel like this pressure to apologize for it when you're like, I didn't do anything. Somebody brought me in.
Yeah. Just wanted their horse to be better. You should be happy.
Yeah. I don't know what to do here. Yeah. So I think it's important, listeners, if you take anything from it, is like collaborating with each other, and growing each other will grow everything. Whether you're a professional in the sport, you're just a hobbyist, or you just want to have friends. If you're going to be critical of everyone, you're not going to have anybody.
Throw that ego out the door. Okay, getting out of this rabbit hole. We love rabbit holes. So back to if someone was wanting to get started in Cowboy Challenge, what are a few foundational skills you feel that every horse should have before entering its first challenge?
Just saving that horse's life, right back to that, right? That's the absolute foundation of any obstacle, and any colt or any broke horse, right? If you can save their life, take them away from stuff. And even in a race, don't get into that race format of like, I need to get across this. If you walk up and look at a bridge and walk away, you're going to get 0.5. If you can get a foot or two on 1.5 points, right? Like we really do reward the try. And that's Craig's big thing, is like try to encourage that. Like, you actually did try, you showed up, cool. You get a point for doing it. You didn't do it well and you didn't go over it, but
But you did it.
don't worry about failing your horse in a race. Just go and try.
Yeah.
And even sometimes I've hopped off of colts. When I started the first few years, I'd hop off and send them through a cowboy curtain or over a bridge just to get that like point on the board, but also not to fail my horse in the race.
Yeah.
You have 30 seconds to engage any obstacle. So at 10 or 15 seconds, if they're not doing it, hop off and try to send them and then get back on. I wouldn't recommend that for novices because they're probably not going to get on and off as easy as trainers.
Yeah.
But if you can just reward that try, go up and leave, and then go to the next obstacle,
Yeah.
it's just a starting point, right? So
I like hearing that you, even as a pro, you have hopped off and figured out the best path for the horse, not for you, for the horse in that competition.
Yeah, you can help them through everything that you do. Just a lot of people get caught up in the competition.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a race, I got to do it.
Yeah. The ego.
So,
The competitive nature.
Yeah.
Or people are watching and, I don't want to get off. I'll be embarrassed if I do this.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to think less of me.
Yeah.
I usually don't care what people think.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
good.
do it for the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone is listening and they want to do Cowboy Challenge, but maybe they don't have an official or access to an obstacle course, how can someone safely start working towards Cowboy Challenge-esque stuff at home?
Dollarama.
We love a good Dollarama.
There's a lot of stuff there you can play with, and pool noodles are cheap there.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do a lot with pool noodles anymore, but it's a good starting ground. Like you can build a pretty light, cheap cowboy curtain out of that. Go get a sheet of plywood, paint it black on one side or paint it white with a black circle. And there's a few trainers down at Worlds that they actually would bring that. They keep it in their trailer at all times because it's just light and easy. And it's like a 3x4 piece of plywood painted white with a black circle. And that black circle will throw off the horse's depth perception. Right, so just training him to step onto that.
We're going to have to do that.
Yeah, and they'll throw it down as the warm up before every race, just to get the horse's mind engaged on stepping on that stuff.
Oh, cool.
That's smart.
So it doesn't have to be
Anything
a
fancy.
14 and a half foot, 6 foot high steel bridge.
Yeah.
It just has to be something different than what they're used to. Even a stall mat.
Yeah.
Cut a stall mat into a circle, throw it on the ground.
Yeah.
Right, or make a donut shape out of it and get them to step into the dirt. That'll throw off horses too. Like, there's a lot of really cheap, easy ways to do things.
Yeah.
Tarps, get them used to tarps, that kind of stuff. A lot of it is bridges, carousels. So, do you know what a carousel is? Do you guys have that in working ec?
We don't have it in working ec, but that's like the thing on, like it's an X and you have to grab it. And you
I know what it is,
around
but I've never seen it.
Yeah, we don't have those in working ec, unfortunately. They're cool.
So, I mean, I thought I loped a pretty good circle until I had to lope a 20-foot circle holding a pole.
And you're like, never mind.
And it was very egg-shaped. So, but a cheap way at home is get an old rim or a trailer tire and tie a 10-foot rope to it. And then just lope a circle with that to keep that even. Right? Or we use maypoles, which are another cheap one to make. It's just like a patio umbrella stand with a piece of PVC and a rope on the top of it, 10 feet high. And you'll see that in a lot of competitions. Now we'll come in a dead run and grab that rope and then lope like a 6-foot circle right off the bat each way. But for at home, it's really an easy way to kind of practice. So yeah, pool noodles, plywood, paint each side of the plywood a different color just to play around with their mindset. Tarps, and then like any type of maypole or carousel you can make to work on kind of the specifics of it.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be so good for your lesson program. I'm just like thinking about that for like getting them used to certain things.
Yeah. And I love about obstacle work is it gives so much purpose to flat work.
Yep.
And for horses too, they're like, oh, this is, I'm not just cantering 6-meter circles because it's fun. Like I have a job to do.
Yeah, I have to do something.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like I had a really hard time selling horsemanship clinics. Because everybody's like, well, it's just kind of dry and boring. I don't know that I need horsemanship. And it's like, everybody needs horsemanship. That's kind of the basis of everything.
Yeah.
But going back, like Tom was really good friends with Ray and Bill and Tom and those guys. So it's all just moving the horse's feet when and where you want. But some of those there's other clinicians out there doing that. And it's like, they'll kick guys out on the rail and move the front foot and the hind foot. And then they'll go out there for a half hour and you think you've got it down pretty good. And then all of a sudden you've got to step over an 18-inch bridge or a tarp. And it's like, now pick up that foot and move it a foot over and step on that corner of the tarp. And all of a sudden it's that goal orientated again where it's like, no, I can't actually do it. I can only move that foot 3 inches. But without that obstacle there, you think you have full control of the feet when and where you want. until you actually had to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good exposing that.
Yeah.
Is there any resources you'd recommend for people to get their foot into the door, or just to be able to watch these kind of events?
Resources, there's not a ton out there yet. I'm revamping my online training program at the moment.
Oh, that's exciting.
I
Congratulations.
saw that on your
Yeah.
website that you had more video.
It's not great on there. I don't
It's
like
hard.
it.
Hey,
It's hard to do.
it's really hard. We're
Yeah.
horse people,
Yeah.
not tech
Well,
people.
And that one was through a friend. He's like, yeah, just use Patreon. And I was like, I don't know about that. I want a professional actual program. And the Patreon worked, and that's all that's on there at the moment.
Yes.
But as you throw videos on, it just gets buried. So now you got to go dig back if you want to find Skinny Bridge
Exactly.
or Tarp Work or anything like that. So I am trying to revamp that over the next few months to being more of a professional. Like this column is Extreme Cowboy, this column's Colt Starting, this column is
More
horsemanship.
user friendly.
And then each one will have 20 to 30 videos in there of that. So
Well, that's very
so
exciting.
that resource is coming,
Yeah.
but it's not out there yet.
Yeah.
It's
Stay
coming.
tuned. Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, you let us know when it's there,
Yeah,
and then
we'll
we
promote
can
it for you.
promote it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that'll be one of the only, I don't know if anybody in the States has done that yet
Yeah.
for
It's-
Extreme.
There any way for people to if they want to watch this, if they just
Yeah.
want to get involved that way, is there any resources there? Is there a page for people to look
Public
at
schedule?
or?
On the Extreme Cowboy Association website
Yeah.
out of Texas, which I think is extremecowboyassociation.com,
Yep.
they have all the races in the world on there.
We'll
And
look
there
for
is,
that
like,
and put
it's-
that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Each month they update it with the monthly races, and then it is there's competitions in Israel, Australia, Germany, France.
What?
It's really
Sweet.
a world sport. I always say it's at least in 20 to 30 countries. I'm not sure, it's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But at Worlds, it is people coming from all those countries to compete at Worlds
That's so cool.
as well, right? So,
That's fun.
but locally, like Alberta, BC, there's Extreme Cowboy Alberta. It's always free for people to come watch. You can watch the races, watch the play days. It's just free auditing. In BC, I've started a BC club. So we're running races and competitions in BC now as well, and people can always come and audit those.
Cool.
That's probably about it, yeah. I think most of the associations in the States do it the same way, and auditing is always free. So it's all through that Extreme Cowboy Association.com.
I will make
Yeah.
sure to add that into the show notes for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. It's super fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I like watching
Yeah.
it.
I feel like,
Half the time I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but I'm excited.
That was always one of my favorite things about Calgary Stampede
Yes.
was I was like, I can't wait to see Craig Cameron and I can't wait to watch the Cowboy Challenge. And I
Yes.
just remember being like, holy crap. It's like, if you're a horse person or not a horse person, it's like such an entertaining sport. It's
Yep.
so cool.
When you're a horse person, you're really focusing on the details and you're like, how are they executing? But if
Yeah.
you're not a horse person, it looks cool.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
It just looks
Yeah,
so cool.
You can get the crowd going, and
Exactly.
Armstrong Fair, we get a couple thousand people watching,
Oh, wow.
and it's pretty big. And,
Yeah.
and the crowd has no idea. Like most of those people have never seen Extreme Cowboy until
They have
come
no
to
idea
the
what's
fair.
going on. They're just excited to be
And
there.
there's people that come back now every year just to watch it, like Stampede.
Yeah.
And we don't even own horses, but we just love watching the horses try and work through the course that's set.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's fun.
Oh, I love that. All right. So we've talked a bit about horsemanship. We're going to continue on that thread. Given your background starting colts and competing, what do you think Extreme Cowboy reveals about a horse that other disciplines don't?
It's a really good question.
We try.
It's the fear base, right? So some of the other sports, you can pressure a horse into being trained. Whereas with Extreme Cowboy, it's a jack of all trades horse, which is like a ranch horse, which is why I got into it. Kind of from colt starting, I was like, this is all stuff that I'm doing with colts. I might as well go and try competing on it. And then I got competitive, and it grew from there. But it really does show how confident the rider and the horse is. Cow horse would be kind of similar. Like you need a confident horse and cow horse to go down the fence. But that's one maneuver. Whereas Extreme Cowboy, it's hundreds of maneuvers all put together at once. And we well have live cattle, and they've made us do cow horse in the middle of an obstacle course in Texas at Worlds. They just turn a cow out on final Sunday, and that was one of the obstacles. And it's the only instruction is work the cow. And it might be going through the suspension bridge or over the moguls or through whatever, and you just got to keep a line on it.
Oh my god, that sounds so chaotic.
I love that.
And it really shows, like, there's a lot of people in it that have never worked cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so all of a sudden you get, and that is one, like, you can be cutting, you can be roping live cattle, you can be cow horsing live cattle. Like, that is an obstacle that's in the rule book even, and a lot of people don't practice that. So all of a sudden you get to Worlds,
and then it's
and
like,
you're like, shit.
Yeah. So versatility.
It makes your horse very versatile. Yeah. In everything, and yeah.
All right. We know for a fact that you have come off back-to-back competitions in colt starting. So you just were at Horse Expo.
Yeah.
And so what has that been like for you to go back-to-back and kind of changing your maybe philosophy or how you're maneuvering it from the first competition to the second one right away?
Yeah, that was interesting. So it's 2 weekends in a row.
Exactly.
The first one was actually the Real Deal horses down in Montana. And they had, that was 4 trainers, 4 colts. None of them were halter broke. So that added a whole nother aspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't actually know that till I got down there.
And you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. And the breeders were great. Super nice young couple. And they're like, yeah, he goes, I thought about halter breaking him, but then I knew that one would be better than the rest, and this way they're just all a clean slate. And I was like, sweet.
You're like, oh, okay.
So,
Thank you.
Again, like, putting the ego aside and being humbled, my filly humbled me the first day.
Yeah.
Because I roped her.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember the last time inside a half hour that I roped something and had a halter on it. And that's typically, like, from roping to haltering, it's about a half hour, maybe 20 minutes, give or take. My filly didn't let me pet her the whole first hour session.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I couldn't even get the rope off of her, and she
Wow.
wanted nothing to do with me at all.
And you're like, okay.
And yeah, so we ended up having to kick her out, and then they used a saddle horse to get the rope off outside. And some of the guys had roped, haltered, and saddled their horse in the first session, and I couldn't even pet mine. So it's just like, well, that's fun. She's gonna humble me this weekend. That's good.
Huh.
And we came back to pull off second, which was really nice.
That's
for
really
you.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for
that's
you.
hard.
She came around. Once she came around. But
I
but
love
yeah,
a horse like that.
Oh, she was cool.
Yeah.
So I might end up going down and picking her up. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah.
sweet. I love a good horse that kind of makes you work for it. Rumor did that. It was almost a year. I'm not even kidding. Like a year where I was like, this horse gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. And then once he did, he's just like butter. And he was like, I love you and I'll do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give my whole heart. And I was like, thank God.
And that was her. It's like, as soon as she flipped, she was and literally, like, she flipped herself over.
She literally flipped.
So anyway, she threw herself, and one of the rules was don't throw him down. Like, you can't actually, like,
Tied him down.
Yeah,
and
tie
make
him
them
down.
play. Yeah.
So she flipped, and I went over and, like, was petting her, and I looked at the judge. I was like, is this legal? They're like, yeah, you didn't pull her over. She did it to herself. And I was like, good. So I'm just going to take advantage and pet and pet.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she came up, and she was licking and chewing, and she was a totally different horse.
Oh,
And-
that's awesome.
And then we finally were going.
Able to do it.
But yeah, pretty much that weekend I was 2 sessions behind the whole weekend until finals, and then caught up there.
That's awesome.
So
Good for you.
Then we had Rockin' Hard horses the next weekend.
Very
which
different.
Were very different.
Yes.
About 3 times the size of the filly I had in Montana. But yeah, I mean, Rockin' Hard does such a great job with their horses. There's no bad horse to get.
Yeah.
No.
They got good brains on.
We
Yeah.
we love rocking hard over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Big fans.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I've had probably 20 or 30 of their horses over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're all always the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so just totally different. You know that they're catchable.
Yep.
And that was kind of the joke in Montana. Every time the session started at the second one, the guy's like, what do you want to do in this second session? I was like,
Catch
I
him.
just want to pet my horse. That was it. And that stayed true the whole weekend. Every time he'd ask, what do you want to do? I just want to pet my horse. And I was like, thank goodness I can pet a Rockin' Hard horse right off the bat and not worry about it. So maybe I'll get to ride this one. But yeah, the back-to-back competitions is pretty fun. Kind of a good way to it's been a year or two since I've done a Trainers Challenge, so it's kind of nice to go down to Montana, get that out of the way before Horse Expo too. But yeah, just totally different formats, different horses completely. So it wasn't even similar other than you're starting a horse in 3 days.
Yep.
Down in Montana by the third session, we were allowed out in the arena. So the round pens were in the arena.
Oh.
So I don't even know that I sat on her in the second session. And the third session, once we got saddled, we were out riding in the open area and moving around doing that stuff. So it was two totally opposite colt starting challenges, even though they were both colt starting challenges.
Yeah.
It goes to show the diversity in it, where it's not always going to look the same at every competition you go to, whereas I think a lot of people assume it's going to be the same parameters or same kind of horses, and it is not. Yeah. And I think that leads to the next thing. What would be the biggest challenge about showcasing good horsemanship under a time limit and crunch in front of a crowd for colt starting? Do you think that your background in competing with Extreme Cowboy Challenges helps with that aspect of the competition?
I think so. I never worry about the obstacles. Whereas if you're not in an obstacle sport competing, some people get pretty worried about the final Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it was after session 4 or 5 in Montana. One of the other trainers, we were asking questions and nobody was asking, so he piped up and he goes, and I think we only had, I can't remember, our fourth session was like 20 minutes, half hour, or session 5 maybe. Anyway, it was one of those two. And he goes, with that, how have you prepared for your horse for finals for the obstacles? And I think I was being a smart ass and just replied, wouldn't you like to know? But
that sounds like you.
Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not worried about it at all. Like, we've already seen a tarp here or there, and we've done other stuff, and I've saved her life enough and got her control of her feet. I don't care. And she was the only one in finals to do all the obstacles.
Wow.
So, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, you're like, see, wouldn't you like to know?
Now you know. Yeah. But he took it pretty good. He was laughing. Everybody was laughing pretty good about it. But, sorry, what was the question again?
No problem. It was, what is the biggest challenge of trying to showcase horsemanship in these time crunches?
The biggest challenge with that is I try not to do anything different there than I do at home. But sometimes at home, if it gets ranchy, it doesn't matter. In the show pen or in the round pen,
it does.
Not everybody understands. Maybe only 20% of the crowd can actually understand what's going on. And you don't always get the time to explain it to them, that they actually come around to understanding why you did what you did in that moment. Right. And I noticed down in Montana, we only talked for 10-minute intervals. So we had 2 round pens with 2 trainers at the same time. Oh, wow.
That's short.
It was. But we'd have our 10 minutes, then they'd have their 10, and then we'd go back and forth for the 45 minutes to an hour. And it was actually really nice down there because on the second day, James Barnes was the other guy with me. So they did the first and second place guy and the third and fourth together. So I was with James the morning of, and we're like, if we can get these horses sat on, let's just go out and we'll flag each other around and help each other.
Wow.
And that was the kind of the big goal, right? Like, again, egos aside, let's just help each other and be trainers. That's what we do at home.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
That sounds awesome.
So we both got out riding and actually could flag each other.
Cool.
That's super awesome.
the biggest issue is being able to tell the crowd what's going on at the same time. And I know even like Horse Expo, there's stuff where I'd talk about what I was doing, but it'd be like a sentence, and then I'd be doing something, then talking about something else to this, that. So it was more like you only get like that 2-minute interval of like a 15 to 20 minute talk at a clinic. Was only like a 30-second introduction in the round pen. And then it's like, I hope people actually caught that and wrote that down and will actually ask about that down the road too. Because that was a really important deal. The horse was moving on, so I had to move on with them to get him to where I need him to be too. So you don't get that time. And
it is difficult. I know for me, from doing like clinics, if you have something go on, you have to immediately address that, you know. And sometimes your brain isn't able to address it as fast as your body's moving. I had a horse at Art of the Cowgirl that had big feelings. We'll just go with that. And we were not able to do what we were supposed to do. But I had to change my entire... I just had to... We were going... And it was so funny looking out in the crowd because you would think that they'd look calm. They looked panicked. Like absolutely panic-stricken. And so I had to be like, no, I'm not panicking. And to talk everybody through that, not just myself, but talking my crowd through it, so that they're not just immediately feeling the anxiety that this situation is causing, even though it's not necessarily going to kill you, but they feel it is. And then you have to feed that energy in a calm way to calm your horse down too, because that crowd is feeding that energy to them on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult.
Yeah, and trying to find the most efficient way to get your message across
Yes.
while you're juggling so many things. I feel like that's part of the challenge too.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for you for throwing yourself into that fire and,
Oh yeah, it's fun.
you know,
The kiln.
doing the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like in those moments, I like try and put myself in like your shoes, for example. And I feel like it's just such a great teachable moment to like really like strip you down of, okay, what are your core values?
Yes.
And can you say your foundational exercises or your foundational methods in a like layman's term 1 to 2 sentence? And like certain things, they have layers, and of course if you're in a clinic setting, you'd of course go in deeper, but
layers,
in those moments I feel like it's so good for, you know, yourself to be like, okay, can I actually say this efficiently, and did that come across? And I feel like just the more you do it, the more refined you get. And I feel like it just is a great test of a trainer in that aspect. And I love watching those trainers.
And it's another skill set.
Yeah. Being a salesman, a spokesman, and a trainer, all like you're just juggling everything all
Try
at once.
not to be frustrated when things go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And not show the crowd you are.
When your horse gets stuck at a gate because you want to be a gated quarter horse.
That's never happened to you.
Never.
Well, Arthur never did that last
No,
weekend.
it didn't happen once.
And horses have a way of, you know, when someone is watching,
Yeah.
that's when they crow hop. That's when they spook the thing that they've seen a million times. And I feel like ego is a big theme of what we're talking about, but it's always just like, okay, checking that ego and being like, all right, I got to ride the horse that showed up today and deal with the scenario that I've been dealt with, right?
Yeah, you can't have a plan. Like you have a plan for the day,
And
but then you got to meet the horse
kiboshed.
where it's at anyway.
Yeah.
And that, I tell people that all the time. It's just because your horse did a tarp and a bridge yesterday does not mean that they're going to do it today.
Yeah.
So don't just walk up to it and assume. People do this all the time. It's unreal. They're getting better as kind of like as my name gets bigger. They're more respectful when they come to a clinic, which is nice to see. But you would never go to a cow working clinic and just walk in the arena and sort a cow out and start playing before anything started. And every single clinic, which is finally not happening anymore, but there's always a couple people that go into the arena early and they start playing on obstacles. And like after day 1, when their horse struggled with like a water box, which I usually don't bring out to day 2 or 3 because they are harder.
Yeah.
They'll walk right to the scariest thing they found the day before after we did like an hour of groundwork and an hour of horsemanship riding and then got to the obstacle, and they'll go right to the scariest one and start doing it right off the bat. And it's like, just because your horse did it or was scared of it yesterday, like why? Why go fail them first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
Go build that
Setting
confidence
up,
back
you're
somewhere
setting them
else
up
and-
for
Build the trust.
failure.
It's like, hey, let's go do something new. Let's go do something terrifying, right?
And you're like,
Let's
why are
hang
doing
you
this?
off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. And I asked him, so why did you go to the scariest one first? Well, we had the most issue with that yesterday. I said, but that was after 3 hours of like working through things. So why did you go to the scary thing first? Why not go build the horse's confidence first and then come back to it?
I think that's a good information just for us too, because when you're saying goal oriented, it really makes me think of myself. I am a very, very competitive person. It is a problem, and I know that. And I am very goal oriented, and I get frustrated when I can't meet my goal. And I've learned a lot from horses in that I can't do that. But like I still do it for myself, and I think I am the person who will go to the scariest thing immediately. Not necessarily with horses, but with myself. And I think this is important for us as like people too, that we want to set ourselves up for success. Why are we setting ourselves up for failure?
Yeah.
Britain, who goes, I'm going to go to the hardest thing first, and if it beats me down, then the other things won't feel as hard.
Yeah.
Instead of going, I'm going to go to the smaller things and build my confidence so that maybe I can get to the hardest thing.
Or think about how my horse thinks about stuff. And
Exactly.
how can I slowly build momentum and confidence.
And build
so
my
that
own confidence.
Once they're presented with the scary thing, they've got a bit of confidence already, rather than right out of the gate, let's go do something terrifying and hard.
And that's the benefit to humans. We can rationalize that. Like we personally can go to the hardest thing. Like if I can get this done, then the rest of the day is easy.
Yeah.
Whereas a horse,
No,
they
it's
don't
a
think
prey.
that way at all. And they're like,
No.
I was just eating grass and pasture, and I want me to go over the scary thing. Like, heck no.
They're like, what is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
you got to get their mind engaged first and go with it. And
Yeah.
my only goal, even at Worlds, is that I come out with a happy horse, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't care how I do. I don't care what I do. As long as my horse is happy and I don't fail him, then I'm happy. But for me, I'm very competitive. But I'm competitive in the way that I want my horse to be happy no matter what we're doing first. And then we still manage to win now and then too. But at least his ears are forward and he's happy when we're doing it.
And he enjoys his job. He doesn't hate it. Yeah. I'm the same way with my horses. I want them to feel like they enjoyed, because like I bring them to a lot of clinics or demos and stuff, and they're in a lot of crowds and a lot of noise and a lot of things. I want them to feel good after. I don't want them to hate being there.
No.
Because if they hate it, that's when you run into problems, and it stops becoming enjoyable for you too.
And it becomes dangerous.
Yep.
It becomes dangerous, and trust is built over time, and sometimes you have to take the loss, or you know, choose some whatever to get the better mindset of your horse. And I always feel like it's an investment. Yeah, you might not have won the buckle this weekend, but you taking the horsemanship route rather than the buckle route is winning you buckles 5-10 years down the line. And I don't think a lot of people see that from the perspective either. And
like, again, a lot of horses, they're not scared of stuff. They don't, what am I trying to say? They don't not like it. Like we were talking earlier, like people are like, oh, my horse doesn't like obstacles, or my horse doesn't like cows. It's like, okay, well, that's probably a horsemanship thing that you need to work on to get them there. It's not that they don't like them. Like there's very few horses that don't like cattle or don't like obstacles to keep their mind engaged on stuff. But that's the horsemanship that we're lacking to get the horse through it or work with them there. So,
the right questions.
I love this. Okay, we're getting to the end. So in every guest in the saddle, we always ask 4 of the same questions, just to like see the range, hear different answers, and everyone has all answered these questions really beautifully, and they were so right in their own way.
No pressure at all.
No pressure. No pressure. And there's
no pressure.
This is all opinion, experience, you based. So I'm super excited to hear your answers to these questions. So there's 4. The first one is, what's one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self starting out in this industry?
Wow, I have no idea off the top of my head. Keep trying, keep working at it. I don't know that I've really changed anything in the last 20 years from doing it, honestly. Take more clinics. I try to take my own clinics as much as I can. Always keep learning. I mean, that's my own mindset. It's just, like I said earlier, Ray, Bill, and Tom were working at it till they were in their 80s and passed away. So there's no reason that we shouldn't be getting worked on as well, right? So I do try to go take as many clinics as I can. Telling my younger self, maybe hold off on stepping into the training, like trainer hat, for a few years more, and take more clinics first to have a better start at it. But I was pretty fortunate. I met Tom in 2009. So, and right after that, about a year or 2 after, is when I started training full time. And I had him to call, and I went down and took a bunch of clinics every spring with him, spent a couple of weeks with him as the years went on. But yeah, I could have put it off for a couple of years and got a better base first, but I kind of just jump right in when I do stuff, and that's what I did. So that might be what I would tell my younger self.
No, that's a good answer. I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Especially new trainers who are wanting to just like bite, they're chomping at the bit to get out. And I think it's something so valuable even for myself. I wish I had more mentors to teach me things that I didn't need to worry about, you know, everything else. They taught and they set me up for that. And then that way I could come out of my own a little bit easier with a better kind of setup.
I think younger trainers shouldn't get as offended as they do by their clients. I think I've seen that quite a bit over the years, where younger trainers, like, the client's opinion really bugs them. Like, no, just do what you're doing, stay true to yourself, stay true to your program, go get help from another trainer or clinician maybe, but don't worry about what that client said. You're going to get it worked out anyway. Right?
That's a good piece of advice.
It is.
Next question. What is your biggest hope for the future generation of horse people?
For the future generation of horse people, both of the horse expos, or both the trainers challenges I just did, it was really interesting to see. Down in Montana, same thing we talked about earlier, American trainers are just more willing to help each other. And that was kind of James and my goal, as well as Justin and Ryan's goal, was to set an example for the younger generation of trainers working together. And that was when James and I teamed up on session 3 and 4, and were able to actually get out in the arena and flag each other around. That was the big goal, was to actually show younger trainers, like these are 4 trainers that have never met each other before, didn't even know who each other were, but they can actually jump in the round pen and help each other. Right, so that's kind of the example that I want to set, is that put the ego aside again, work with other trainers. You can learn something from everybody, so don't worry about it, and get help where you need it.
That's a really good one. Really, really good one.
And yeah, Horse Expo was the same with Braden and Kyle. Like, they're both friends as well. And even when I was in Montana, I was calling Braden because he was watching a bit online.
Yeah,
so
you were mentioning that to me.
Yeah, we talked back and forth, and Kyle he's on weird cutting hours in Texas because they work at like 2 or 3 in the morning. So we messaged more than we talked, but like same thing. He watched a little bit, and so it's just always sharing those opinions and getting an outside view in on it too, right?
Yeah, more collaboration, less competition.
Yeah, so I think both those weekends back to back, it was a lot of trainers working together and trying to tell people that we can actually work together as trainers instead of against each other.
I love that for the new generation of saying collaboration is key, and it helps us all.
Absolutely. What is one thing you do outside of the saddle that helps out with your horsemanship? This is an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing, I stay physically fit. I work out a bunch, which does help with riding. It's a physical sport, so you have to. But having days off as well, right? Like that mental break. And when I take days off, it's totally opposite of the horse world. So that way it is nothing related, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I do a lot of whitewater sports, whitewater rafting, canoeing, kayaking, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love to.
So, yeah, and it's totally opposite. And those people never ask about a horse question. But it's a fear-based sport in a way. So it helps you regulate your own fears when you're in class 4 or 5 rapids, which therefore...
Yeah, your adrenaline.
Yeah, which therefore helps when you're in the saddle with colts.
Yeah, you're like staying chill under pressure.
Yeah.
That's all horsemanship.
Yeah.
That's a cool answer too, because I think it's so unique in a good way. Like it's just like, oh, you're having to control your adrenaline in a totally different sport that has nothing remotely to do with horses, but it helps you. And I think that's awesome.
I'm laughing at we went to Florida.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And the manatee.
That's what I'm thinking. We went through our own whitewater rapids and mentees, and I'm just thinking we couldn't survive the like calm ass, let alone the rapids.
As soon as that dick went across, it was all over.
That's so funny.
Oh my god, that was a funny time. All right.
Okay. Last question, and I love this one. What legacy do you hope to leave in and outside of the arena?
In the arena, just that it's fun. You can actually have fun and compete. So I hope I've done that, and I hope I've showed that the last 2 colt starting challenges. I've talked about it a lot in the round pen. Like it is, to me, it's just fun. And I have a lot of fun, and I just joke around and have a good time in the round pen. And the colts usually have fun and do pretty okay too. But that'd be the biggest legacy, is it's that no pressure obstacles, right? Let it be their idea and just have fun doing it. Because if you're not having fun, the horse isn't having fun, there's no point in competing. So just,
Chef's kiss. It's a good one.
Oh man, I'm sure our audience has actually learned quite a lot today. And I really hope that they've enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed it, because we have definitely had our cogs turning on that front. Thank you again so much for taking the time to chat with us and teach our audience and give your knowledge and your take on everything. We appreciate that multifaceted view of the horse industry. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
If you are looking for ways to follow Trevor and his journey, or perhaps you want to work with him and attend some of his clinics, like I think I'm going to, you can check out his social media on Instagram and Facebook at Horses That Work, or his website, www.horsesthatwork.ca, which as always will be in our show notes /description.
Yeah, so thank you for listening. If you love what we're doing and you want to support Uncinched, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share our content so more people can enjoy the fun. If you aren't already, make sure to follow us on social media for more updates and behind-the-scenes content in between episodes. That's it from us. Until next time, bye!